What's up everybody? Jay here with Jay's Backyard Cooking. And today's video, we're doing a 3-in-1. 3 meals with a pork shoulder that I smoked 2 days ago. So for this first video, we're gonna get into some pulled pork melts using Tommy's pimento cheese. The only other ingredients we're gonna need is Texas toast, butter, onion, and seasonings of your choice. Let's get into the first meal. All right, I got all the ingredients out. I did forget to mention the melt sauce that we're gonna put in there. So I did take out, check this out, some mayonnaise, some ketchup, and relish. Yes, this is Whataburger ketchup. I thought we had a jar in here, not sure why, because we never eat ketchup here, but I did find this in there. We're rolling with it. I'm also gonna do this entire cook indoors. There's a chance of rain outside. It's been sprinkling on and off. I don't feel like fighting it. Plus, I have a pan that I'm gonna retire after this cook, so I figured might as well go with it. The first thing we're gonna do is slather one side of butter. Slather one side of butter. We're gonna slather one side of the bread with butter to get these toasted on one side first. And then once we're ready to fill it, at that point I'll butter the other side before we get it on the grill. I'm not gonna show you how to slather butter on a bread up close. Just don't go too heavy with it is the only thing that I can tell you. It's not gonna need much. Again, we're just gonna get them toasted on one side for now. Get this out of the way. Look, I'm able to fit all 4 of them in this pan. Just gonna keep an eye on those. While that's doing its thing, I have 1 sweet onion here that we're gonna grill up as soon as we get this bread off. Once these start sauteing, we'll work on the other parts. With the onions, I'm gonna try to go as thin as possible. That's probably about enough. Let's get this put on a plate. Put it aside until bread is done toasting on that side, which is almost done. One thing I do want to show you up close though is the pork shoulder, because I cooked this shoulder on Thursday and I left it whole. I haven't touched it yet. One of my biggest beliefs is you only break off what you're gonna eat that day. The rest of it, you leave it whole and it'll continue to stay moist for that period of time until you're ready to eat it. The bread is done. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of water with the onion so that they can start to saute instead of oil, just my personal preference. And then I'm gonna cover them so that they can steam in there. And if we dig in there, it'll come apart. Just as easy. I cooked this on Thursday. It's Saturday now. But it's gonna be every bit of juicy as it was on Thursday. And today I'm pulling just enough for 2 sandwiches. That's probably good enough right there. We'll take this knife and just chop it up. Probably overkill, but we're gonna have extra stuffed pork shoulder pimento cheese melts. Just give it a rough chop. That should be perfect right there. Onion, the only thing I'm gonna do is add a little bit of pepper to it, and then we'll get these going until you're satisfied with them. I'm gonna go until they're translucent to almost burnt. Almost. Get this pork shoulder put on the plate, get that ready to go onto the pan here in a little bit. While we're waiting for that, we're actually done with the cutting board. Let's get the dishes done. Let's get some stuff put away. Grab a nice beverage so we can stay hydrated. Very important to stay hydrated. Let those onions go for a little while longer. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and get the spread on the toasted side. Tommy's pimento cheese the star of the show for the video that came out last Saturday of the Carolina Twinkies. And what we're gonna do is just put not a real thick layer, but just enough to coat the bottom of that bread. That was the original. And then on this one, we'll do the jalapeno. Again, you'll hear a lot on my channel, if you don't like something, don't do it. If you want more pimento cheese, put more pimento cheese. If you want less, put less. If you don't want it, you want some other kind of cheese, put some other kind of cheese. You do you. I'ma do me. All right, at this point, the onions are done to my liking. Just gonna spread some on each sandwich here. And now we're just gonna throw the pork shoulder in there. And then cleaning up as I go, or putting stuff away, I should say. Move this out of the way. Bring in a glass bowl. I'm going to go Duke's mayo. Probably about 2 heaping spoons of that. Let's go 3. Let's finish off the jar. Not gonna hurt. To this, we're gonna add my ketchup packet. And then to this, a little bit of relish. Just enough for flavor. That is it with that one. At this point, we're just gonna grab a couple handfuls, set it right on top. Like I said, overstuffed. At this point, we grab some more butter and we butter the opposite side. Grab some of this sauce here. Then we're gonna put this butter side up. At this point, we flip this over. Put that first butter side down. Get this one, and we do the same thing. Butter side down. Get a little butter on this top part. All right, we got that first side going. We'll let that get toasted up real nice and brown, and then we'll flip it. All right, we'll get this first one flipped over just like that. The second one flipped over just like that, nothing to it. Now what we're gonna wanna do is put the lid on it so we can get that cheese nice and melted. All right, it doesn't take much. The toastiness to how you like it. You want it really toasted, leave it on longer. Had a little bit of fallout left over. I don't remember now which one was the jalapeno and which one was the regular. So me and my wife are gonna split it right down the middle. Let's get this chopped in half. She can have one of those and one of these, and I will take the other half. Get rid of the dishes. And there you have it, folks. Meal number 1 using the pork shoulder I cooked on Thursday and Tommy's pimento cheese. Pork shoulder, pimento cheese melts. Stay tuned for meal number 2. All right, we're back with day number 2. I wasn't gonna bore you with chopping up and explaining to you what I was doing, but basically just get enough of that shoulder to cook as much as you need for the family. The only other thing that I'm gonna add to this now is salt and a little bit of that taco seasoning that I get just to give it that little Mexican oomph that we're going for. So today we are doing carnita flautas. It's no longer pork shoulder because we're going Hispanic with it. So carnita flautas is what we're going with. Gonna set this meat aside. Bring in a fresh cutting board. Also have my aluminum pan here because I'm gonna get these prepared all at one time and then take them outside and get them on the griddle. I'm gonna put 10 at a time in the microwave. I'm gonna get them real hot. That way they don't break up as I'm rolling them. I also have some toothpicks here that I'm gonna shove through them as I'm done rolling them up. And then we're gonna put them in this aluminum pan. That way I just take them all outside at one time and get them fried up on the griddle. I also have my cotton gloves here so that I'm not burning myself. Don't feel like dealing with that today. I didn't warm up the carnitas just because dropping them in the hot oil should do the trick for me. Choice of poison today, garage beer. Stay hydrated. All right, about a minute and a half. We'll get them out. Lay it flat there. Put in your filling. Get them rolled up. Shove a toothpick through. Put it in the pan, just like that. I'm gonna get these done. We'll be right back. Can you come do me a favor so I don't have to change my gloves? Will you put 10 tortillas on this plate and put them back in the microwave for a minute and a half? One thing I can tell you is that they aren't pretty. Some of them are probably gonna end up looking like tacos. Some of them may look like flautas. And some of them, we'll figure it out when we get there.
Reggie and Mandy, CBS Thursday.
So as you can see, I put a little bit of oil in this aluminum pan right here. I posted a couple of times in my videos where I use aluminum pan to fry stuff out here on the griddle. Man, it makes for cleanup so much easier. Just wait till it cools down. I usually save the old containers. That way when I do stuff like this, I can just pour the old oil back into this container, toss it in the trash, and we're good to go. I'm gonna let this come up to temperature. We'll be right back with the flautas.
At the 25, see what their philosophy is here on 3rd and 15.
All right, it seems to be hot enough now. What I'm gonna try to do is try to put them in this way. A lot of these you can tell kind of, I don't know if you can see it or not, but a lot of these you can tell kind of unwrapped. So I think if I get them like this and drop them in this way, hopefully that'll help keep them closed. Just like this, toothpick and all. Just throwing it all in there. Trying to grab that bottom flap. Putting them downwards. Anything that falls out is fine. We'll pull those out afterwards. And I'm just gonna put as many in here as I can. Looking like flautas right there. We're gonna let those go until crispy. However crispy you like them. All right, they've been in there for a couple of minutes. Let's get these flipped around. Getting nice and golden brown on that side. And everything is staying close. So it turns out we are gonna have flautas. At this point, I used the tongs and a fork to pull all the toothpicks out. I have them finally all turned over. I left them in there long enough. Again, we're gonna have some taquitos, some flautas. We're gonna make it work. So I'm gonna get these done and then I'll see you back inside shortly. You're in the middle of a project. What kind of husband would I be if I took you away from your project? You want slice or dice?
It doesn't matter. The cut
Okay.
does it all the time.
Am I in the video? All right, today's meal is almost complete. The flautas / tacos are ready. We're just gonna get some tomato, avocado, and some already sliced lettuce to go on top. Yes, I know I'm missing the crema or the sour cream. I thought we had some, we didn't get it, so we'll deal without. I do have a little bit of green salsa in there from a local taqueria here in my area. So I'm gonna use that and we're gonna roll with it. Second meal complete. You wanna get the table ready or you want me to do that too? All right, day 3 of the pork shoulder and the easiest of all the meals, pulled pork sandwiches on Texas toast. And of course, what kind of barbecue sauce do we use? Kinder's barbecue sauce. I don't really care for barbecue sauce. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that I don't really care for barbecue sauce. But if I have to use barbecue sauce, this is the one that I go for. Also, I still have some of this fresh Holy Trinity that I'm gonna end up just sprinkling onto my sandwich, and then we're gonna be done with this. It's been in the refrigerator for a while, so it's probably getting to its last days. Pretty cut and dry with the pulled pork. I'm just gonna grab it with my hands, shred it apart. I'm not really gonna dice it with a knife or anything. Just gonna shred it apart, throw it in the microwave, slap it on some bread. So today I'm not really worried about getting small chunks. I'm okay with just tearing it apart with my fingers. And then just getting the pieces as small as I want them, because it's gonna go on a sandwich anyways, and because the meat is still gonna be every bit as moist today as it was when it came out of the smoker. It's gonna tear apart pretty easily, and this is probably gonna be more than enough that we need for the 2 sandwiches that we're gonna eat. And then I'm gonna drizzle on just a little bit of barbecue sauce before I put it in the microwave and nuke it, just to get the meat a little tacky. And then afterwards, same deal. I'll be able to put on however much barbecue sauce that I want, and my wife will be able to put on however much barbecue sauce she wants. And then at this point, what I like to do is wet a paper towel. Not soaking wet, just enough to get it moist. And then I cover the meat with that just to kind of help prevent it from possibly drying out. I don't know, it's just something that I've done for a long time, and I just prefer to do this when I'm putting meat in the microwave. Just personal preference, but this goes in the microwave until it's as hot as you want it to be, and then it's ready to eat. At this point, it's piping hot. Separate the meat to your sandwiches. We're gonna make them pretty hearty. If you saw, I still have a bunch of shoulder left in that pan. Serve. Oh shit. On mine here, I'm gonna put a little bit of this Trinity on there. Serve. Meal number 3. Easy peasy. So one other meal that we did have planned, I don't think I'm gonna have time to film it, but barbecue pizza. I believe, do I have a video of that?
I thought you had a video
Yeah.
of the pizza.
So one other meal that we did have planned, and I'm still not sure whether we're doing it or not, but if I do, I'll try to film it, and if not, just know I do have a video of it already up. But barbecue pizza, easiest thing in the world. You buy these from Pillsbury pizza crust, you roll it out, follow the directions, and then the same process. Shred up the meat, add the barbecue sauce as much as you like, and then the cheese of your choice on top of it. Throw it in the oven, and then about 10 minutes later, you have dinner. That's always a good recipe that you can follow as well. But if you like what you saw here, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment. Anything helps. We'll see you next time. You know, folks, in life, we don't always get second chances, but sometimes we do get second servings. And that's what part 2 of this little pork-powered saga is all about. Last week, I smoked a pork shoulder so good, it practically applied for its own YouTube channel. And this week, I showed you 3 meals born from that glorious hunk of smoked perfection. Each one delicious, each one easy, and each one reminding us that leftovers aren't a burden. They're an opportunity. But let's be honest here. The real star of the show, the one that strode it onto the plate like it owned the place, was that pork shoulder pimento cheese melt. Ooey, gooey, smoky, cheesy, like comfort food and pure happiness got married and moved into your kitchen. At the end of the day, whether it's pork melts, flautas, pulled pork sandwiches, or whatever your imagination cooks up, the point is simple. Great food keeps marriages tight, turned an ordinary weeknight into a small celebration, and reminds us to slow down enough to enjoy the small victories. So until next time, keep the grills hot and the seasoning simple.